Hi everybody, it's Miss Rosie with the San Diego Natural History Museum. I have a wonderful book about friendship for you today. This is called Ricky the Rock Who Couldn't Roll. It is written by J. Miletsky and illustrated by Erin Wozniak. Over the lake and out past the bay was a green grassy hill where the rocks came to play. They would race to the top to take in the view, then roll their way down the way rocks love to do. So there they are rolling down the hill. Look, they're having so much fun. Look how happy they are. There were Kip, Pip, and Chester, and Marvin the Boulder. Ignatius played too, though he was much older, and a group called the Pebbles never ever sat still, zigzagging their way up and over the hill. So there's all our rock friends and all the pebbles. Kai was a meteorite and not from this planet, and Maya was lava, but taken for granite. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, and grumpy old Ebert rolled round with a frown. Gabby was sassy, Lacey had flair, Emma was giggly, and Hud had black hair. Take a look, there they are. Oh, and Parker says, "How do you make a tissue dance?" Ebert says, "Seriously?" There's Hud with his black hair. And then Lacey says, "You put a little boogie in it. That's how you make a tissue dance." But the one trait that seemed to be shared by them all was that every rock there was shaped like a ball, and because they were round, they could easily roll through the grass, past the lake, up and over the knoll. It's easy to roll when you're round, right? Except for poor Ricky, who quietly sat. You see, Rick couldn't roll because one side was flat. Oh, he looks so sad. His friends having fun. Oh, except for Ebert. What does he say? What part of this is supposed to be fun? His friends didn't get it. "Come roll," they would chant. So Ricky tried, but replied, "I'm sorry, I can't." Poor Ricky, huh? But the rocks were determined. They were sure they could solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him resolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way up the hill's grassy peak. Then he pushed him down, yelling, "Keep rolling, kid." But Ricky didn't roll. He just sort of slid. And he says, "This feels like a bad idea." It's not really rolling. Not quite the same, right? Well, the rocks weren't done yet, not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick, using big gobs of glue to get them to stick. They were proud of themselves. "This will work," they announced. But look what's happening. Boing, boing. And there's Ricky. Look at him with all those rubber balls. But Ricky still couldn't roll. Now he just sort of bounced. And he says, "No good, no good, no good." That might be kind of fun too, though. Well, they pushed and they pulled, trying every which way to get Rick to roll, but by the end of the day, nothing had worked, just like Rick expected, and he ended up feeling depressed and dejected. "It's no use," Ricky sighed. "There just isn't a way, so I'll sit by the side and watch you all play." Oh, no. But his friends wouldn't quit. "We're here for you, brother, and we'll get you to roll one way or another. So they pondered and thought, each straining his brain till they looked up and saw that it was starting to rain. And that's when it hit that smart stone named Stu. Eureka, he shouted. I know just what to do. He explained to them how they would get Rick to tumble. My plan is pure genius. Stu wasn't humble. He says, Eureka. Oh, poor Ricky. What do you think they're going to do? So they carried our hero down the road about a mile to the lake where they gathered up mud they could pile on the flat side of Rick, creating a mound that they shaped, smoothed, and sculpted until it was round. Then after the rain with the sun in the sky, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. They gathered up vines and one colorful feather that they wrapped all around Rick to keep it together. So take a look what they did. They put mud and the vines and the one feather. They all look pretty happy. Do you think this is going to work? Oh, what does she say? Does anyone have a towel? Got a little mud on her too, right? When the last knot was tied and the work was all done, the only step left was for Rick to have fun. They stood back and watched, feeling nervous and tense, as Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense. He moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold. And then, for the first time, what do you think? Is it going to work? There he is. Oh, I love the feather. What do you think? Is it going to happen? Ricky the rock rolled. Look how happy he is. Oh. So Bria the ladybug, who'd been there from the start, do you remember seeing her through the book? Felt a surge of pure joy swell up in her heart. She thought as she watched her friends play on the hill that there's always a way if there's also a will. And she said to herself as Ricky rolled down the slope, when you're surrounded by love, you always have hope. So there's the little ladybug, Bria. They're all rolling down the hill. Look how happy Ricky is now. He gets to play with his friends. Isn't that a nice book? I love that last line. When you're surrounded by love, you always have hope. Love is really important, and having hope is important too. So we always want to keep that hope alive, that we can do things and keep trying, right? So the craft I have for you to try out today is inspired by Ricky and our book. I went out into my yard and I found a couple pretty rocks. There's so many beautiful rocks out there. So this one I thought was really pretty. Look, it's kind of black with little brown streaks in it. It's very pretty. And then I like red. Red's one of my favorite colors. So this rock is a little bit red. Inspired by our story, I wrote on these. One of them says hope and the other one says love. And what I'm going to do is take these rocks and put them out in my yard, in the front yard, and maybe my neighbors, when they're walking around, will see these words on the rock and have a little love and a little bit hope, and maybe it'll make them smile today. If you don't want to do something like this, you could also just take a rock and paint it and put something on it that inspires you. So this is a recycling symbol. I just painted this, and then this rock, I painted it and I said, I love, and that's the earth. I love the earth. So I'm going to put all these rocks out in my front yard. Hopefully it'll make somebody in my neighborhood smile. So have a little love and hope in your life. Take some rocks, send a message out into the world, and I'll see everybody next week.